And we are the Coalition, loud and proud, outrage porn-free, civilly disobedient media, broadcasting live at the Worldwide Coalition Radio Network, coalitionradionetwork.com, facebook.com/The Coalition Radio, on the mighty, mighty Twitter at Coalition_radio. And for today, it is special. This is our third in our series of our visits to landmark Rhode Island restaurants, talking about COVID. Most importantly, though, talking about the restaurant, the people, the food, the spirit, the dawning of, if you will, an acknowledgement of the celebration of survival, but yet at the same time, an understanding of what we need to do to move forward so that so many people who've made a lifetime investment in this city will have an opportunity not only to recover, but to thrive. And I guess the theme is, let's get Rhode Island back to work. I am at NicoBellas Restaurant, 10 Dorrance Street, right in the heart of DownCity. As someone, I'm a denizen of Providence. I made a decision years back to live in Cumberland. Ugh. I love this city. I love this city at 4 o'clock in the morning. I love this city at 9 o'clock in the morning. I love this city on a fall afternoon. I love this city unconditionally. There has always been this great creative element right here in the heart of DownCity. A lot of it comes back to the days of Vincent A. Buddy Cianci. His acknowledgement, maybe, I will never understand who really got it, but the acknowledgement that American cities are no longer really of centers of commerce. They're centers of entertainment. If you can get people to live here in the heart of these centers of entertainment, all the better. But you bring people downtown now with great experiences. People from out of town come for conventions. People from around the Northeast go to the Providence Performing Arts Center. Trinity Rep. For Rhode Islanders, it all sounds so cliche, right? This is DownCity. We've always known it in some form or another, the good years and the bad years. But as my other theme for the last few weeks is the notion that this is a very special place, Rhode Island. This doesn't really exist in a lot of other cities in this country. Most cities are, lovely places, perfectly happy to accept their big box chain restaurants with their local production company, with, the local state college. We are at the epicenter of the American educational ecosphere here. Brown University, the Rhode Island School of Design, Johnson & Wales, Providence College, the Rhode Island College, a bunch of small schools, independent schools. It's mixed that with just a geography, a feel from literally, a vibrant feel from literally every major century in American history. From literally the founding of America to the Industrial Revolution, now to being, pre-COVID, one of the places to visit. And I'm talking about New York Times, Travel and Leisure, all the big, they recognize that there's a chemistry here. There's something special in Rhode Island. So the real focus of all this conversation we've been having over the last few hours is how do we continue to capture that? How do we keep it alive? We've survived. How do we make to the next step where we recover? So anyway, I'm at NicoBellas Restaurant. Joining me right now is Danny Crenca, proprietor, his aide-de-camp, Chief Water Buffalo, guy who does everything, Chris Byrne, operations director. First of all, thank you guys for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I know these are hectic, busy times. Let's talk about the restaurant first, and because it's fun. First of all, I'm a movie guy, and if you're a fan of that sort of 1950s, 1960s Italian cinema, with the big bold food and the splashy colors and lots of personality, and that's what happens here. That's if I can try and capture the spirit of it. Danny, when did you open up the restaurant? What was kind of the idea behind it? Tell us about the menu. Kind of give us a little bit of an infomercial, a tour of NicoBellas.
So I was called in 2015 by my brother, who was the founder of AS220, and Umberto Crenca, the artist who we present in our restaurant and in our future restaurants, his artwork and his hard work in developing the city from the bottom up, from the arts. And when we first looked at a location around the corner, it was the vibe we were going for. We have a long history of serving food in Rhode Island. We've got a family that has started in the early 20s at the Welcome Cafe on Chalkstone Avenue, where my father came over from Italy and was there with them, and then they moved on to Alfredo's on Thayer Street, and some of our recipes are still the same recipes. Our lasagna that's been going on since the early 20s is still being served here at NicoBellas. But well, with that long history of serving food, which is pretty important to enjoy your meal, we also have a real heart for the artist and the vibe that we present here. And I like the way you described it and what you were talking about it and what you felt when you came through the door. And that's one of our common compliments, is that it's a great vibe and it's got a lot of energy in the place. And it does present all my brother's artwork, and we will continue to do that as well.
What? Tell me the story of the lasagna, because that's as someone who's been the recipient and the victim of some pretty good lasagna and some pretty bad lasagna. I'm not looking for you to disclose family recipes, but tell us about who developed the recipe and why your lasagna is better than literally anyone else on the planet.
Well, I think like anything else, I think that where it begins and the passion for it is what makes it better than everybody else. It's a long history of a family recipe that's being served in Providence for, like I said, almost 100 years. It also won the Pasta Challenge Awards that Buddy had put on many years ago. I think where the heart is where the quality is. And we love the lasagna. It has a history of my cousins, my aunts, served at 4th of July. It's a very basic, simple lasagna, but it has been consistently made here in Rhode Island for a very long time. And, I think when you put a meal together with a good story and lineage and coming all the way back from when these people, I'm first generation, my father was born in Italy. These were the meals that were made out of hardship. These were not the meals that were made out of the kitchens of Johnson & Wales. We're talking about a handful of meals, and our homemade gnocchi that I've been making for over 30 years, that Chef Nino Russo from Capriccio's taught me, and it's the same recipe that we serve here today, a tomato sauce that was developed over the years with Alfredo's and the Welcome Cafe and my aunts that we use here. A breakfast that is with a good Italian sausage, that a sausage gravy that is served with our Italian sausage made from scratch. These are not so much about the better than anybody else's, because we serve the best food in Rhode Island in the country. We serve some of the best food in Providence. Not me. We don't welcome people to NicoBellas when they walk in the door. We welcome to Providence. We are not one trophy. We are a group of restaurants that is. I've been all over the country. I've been in different parts of the world. We are as good as anybody, if not better, here in Providence. And we have a great history of good food. And our lasagna is part of that.
Excellent. Talk to me. Rhode Island has been at the forefront, really the leader in a number of culinary movements. The easiest one, of course, is farm to table. We've also got, quite frankly, we've got ocean to table here. We have a tradition of suppliers and producers over generations in Rhode Island. Again, that's astonishing. One of the companies that I missed the most was the Providence cheese over on Atwell's. Where you could buy mozzarella still in the water, still in the for whatever reason, and there are a number of them here over the years. We've had some amazing bread companies. I think of the baking that's done at 7 Stars, amongst others, right now in terms of really an allegiance to classic French baguettes. We've got everything here. What are some of your favorite, if you will, staples, ingredients from Rhode Island that you like? Any particular favorites?
Well, you talked about an array of things that what people don't know in Rhode Island and in our small little corner of this country is very unique compared to the rest of the country. I just had a wonderful tour of Farm Fresh down in Providence, that they just built a new building. If you don't know about Farm Fresh, please look it up. Look up their website. It's bringing farmers together from from all over Rhode Island to bring their fresh goods to our city. I think it's a phenomenal venue for exactly what you're talking about. We have the opportunity of a mushroom company that was founded here. If you don't know about that, I think the mushrooms that are served at Rhode Island Mushroom are just fantastic.
Right.
And was absolutely built from the closet of a dorm room. Sounds a little weird, right?
No,
Sounds crazy.
They're good people.
But they're good people, and they serve a great product. You know, some, and as you might see a little white hair on me, some I forget, and I also take for granted in this great state of bounty. I think that we have an incredible opportunity here to access things that we don't realize, and I forget too, that is very rare to the rest of the country.
Right. And so the culture, it's really, it's a cross current. You know, you mentioned Johnson Wales. You've got, quote unquote, a culinary approach to dining, mixing with this incredible array of ethnic, first generation, often restaurants that bring literally the world. I mean, you know, I always talk about Los Andes, for example. There aren't many Los Andes anywhere. The fact that it would be coexist in a Providence with a restaurant like NicoBellas and a restaurant like Potiphar and the incredible array of Cambodian and Vietnamese restaurants that exist in the state, you can't. And this kind of speaks to the general theme today. This has to happen organically. You don't get to just fly a bunch of people in and create a Rhode Island restaurant scene, do you?
Absolutely not. I mean, I was listening to you. I had the privilege to eat at Dirk's up the street in downtown Providence,
Yep.
and I always encourage people to come downtown and eat because we have a great group of restaurants down here, and the food was absolutely phenomenal. It was an absolute great product, and you know, I had the privilege to live in Austin, Texas for a while, and their barbecue is as good as Austin. And if you don't realize that Austin has got the best barbecue in the world, you'd be surprised. It's pretty amazing.
Right.
But I got the taste of that again at Dirk's, and you know, and I think about Sarah right up the street where I could get a nice seafood noodle soup, and I could get a beautiful array of sushi that's walking distance from my restaurant. And then you can come down here and get a lasagna and a great breakfast all day. We're ready to serve you an omelet and bacon and eggs at 8 o'clock at night with your lasagna sitting next to you. So it's a pretty phenomenal restaurant industry here in Rhode Island. And I know where we're headed with this and what we've been through, and I'm looking forward to getting to that as well.
Right. So, downtown restaurants. You know, again, we've got the other great part about Providence. It's a city of neighborhoods. We've got an amazing amount of neighborhoods that have their own distinct character. We've got Wickenden Street. We've got Wayland Square. We've got Hope Street, and of course, we've got DownCity. So, what moves and generates business in DownCity right now? What do we need to get back up and running in order to get people? And by the way, the backdrop is people filling the restaurant, coming to lunch, which is great. All right, but on a bigger level, what has to happen to just relight the fire here downtown?
Well, let's go back to the beginning of this interview, and you had talked about, Buddy, saying that this DownCity infrastructure is built on entertainment now, and not commerce like it once was. And you know, we did a loosely kind of study of our business when things were good before COVID hit, and 60% of our business was from the convention center, from PPAC, from Trinity Repertory Theater, from AS220, from small venues that are drawing projects and different things that are downtown for entertainment-wise. A hotel business that drew people to come to these venues. Biltmore has been closed for a year. The Omni was closed for a year. Convention Center is closed. As you know, all these venues and our direct source, it's almost like we were, and please don't underestimate the quality by using this example, but we're like a cafeteria to the city, right? Every restaurant downtown, we're going to include everybody, We're like a cafeteria to the city, and the city was shut down in the last year.
Right.
And what we need it back. We need the hotels open. We need the convention center open, and we need government. Thank you if you saved one life. Thank you. I'm not here to play the smart guy, whether what's wrong or what's right. Thank you for what you did, if it saved one life. But please don't forget us now after what you did. Mm-hmm. Take responsibility to bring us back, right? You shut us all down. It's got, as far as you walk into the woods, it takes to walk out of the woods.
Right.
We need the continuous help to get out of the woods. You know, I know the governor and David from Brood Awakening is put together a bill, and they work together to develop something to help bring people back to work. These are the kind of initiatives that have to be followed through with. They need the attention from the people that can make a difference and can make these things happen. And we appreciate you for bringing this stuff to everybody's attention.
No, thank you. And by the way, I love the cafeteria analogy. Sometimes I use the word buffet. Right? There's this huge buffet that starts at right around, I don't know, exit 93 in Connecticut. And by the way, I'm not a native Rhode Islander, but a few years into the experience here, one day I'm coming back from New York City, and all of a sudden I felt this like palpable sense of relief after I crossed into exit 93. And there's something that happens to you because, like, all right, I'm back in Rhode Island, everything's okay. Yeah. You know, and so, you know, Westerly, Matunic, all these restaurants, right up, we're all suffering from this same issue, and that appears to be the employment issue. You've got restaurants at this point are having to offer bonuses, and I guess that to a sense that's a free market, but it's been ignited by this imbalance between what you're paid if you're unemployed and what not, and to all of your credit, rather than just complain, and in Rhode Island complaining is one of the state's contact sports, right? Because we all complain. But rather than complain, you all did something about it, and you've gotten behind it as in a show of unanimity that you don't often see in competitive business markets, and it speaks to a couple of things. First of all, give witness to the kind of cooperative team spirit that exists between all of these restaurants, which in reality are all fighting for that same consumer dollar. How did that happen? I don't see that often.
It takes one. You know, there's one up on Federal Hill that put together, Rick Simone put together a group, and he's been very consistent, and he's responded to emails. He's been very passionate about his work, and they got results. They did something up on Federal Hill that was absolutely fabulous in bringing people together. David Levesque, I can't say enough from Brood Awakening. I watched him grow over the years. I've been very close to being a part of his development, what he's done. He's gone far beyond anything I ever helped him with. And he has been the one who's been consistent, has been passionate, has been a leader of the bunch, and has brought together some long-term restaurant people in this state. And what we do have is that we have something unique compared to the rest of the country. We have a lot of long-term, real restaurateurs that have been, like myself, in this business from when we got our first job, when we've had the passion for this business, from our families before us who've been in this business. Mm-hmm. And he's been able to put together a group of people to recognize a serious problem. The government has taught people and changed the habit and taught people how to stay home and not come to work, and has supported them financially, and they need to help us get them back to work. But listen, I don't have to go to work this summer because I've got enough money to barely survive, and I can lay on the beach for 3 months. I'm in no rush to go support and go to work and serve the customers at George's, which has been serving our community and giving me a chance to take a motorcycle ride down there and get clam cakes and chowder on a regular basis since I was a child.
Right.
And they can't put people to work. They don't have people to serve the clam cakes and chowder that I have been grown accustomed to get since I was a child. Something's wrong with that. We need some help. And this is where David Levesque and his initiative and the governor who's supporting this is doing a great job to maybe start turning this thing around.
Excellent. Chris, I'll get Chris Byrne in the picture here for a second. You've been loosely described as the operations guy here. And you've got extensive restaurant experience, including a lot of work in South County. Something else we focused on in the last few days is the chemistry, the teamwork, the skills, just the overall operation of a restaurant is sort of like a ballet.
For sure.
Talk to us about what type of work you folks need, the opportunities that this work represents, particularly to young people, and how hard it is to create that chemistry that makes a successful restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing always has been, everybody should work in a restaurant at some point in their life.
Mm-hmm.
I think it should be a college course. You work in a restaurant at some point in your life. You get skills working within a team. You get face-to-face communication skills, which unfortunately, with popularity of this, sometimes get lost with young people these days. How I like to build a team is we're all a family here. When you work here, we're all a family. That's how I did it in restaurants that I've owned before, restaurants that I've run before. I think anybody that's ever worked for me would say that. That's what we do here at NicoBellas. Let me tell you, we have an amazing team here. We have gone with Daniel and I and a couple of servers and a prep cook, and we've gotten through this together, and it's been a wild ride. It's been a hard year, and we've built a little core team together to start to build something that we believe can be something big. And we need people to join our team. Look, you don't have to be crazy experienced to come join our team. I will teach you. Daniel will teach you. Grow with us. Come in. We are willing to pay for the right help. I have been putting ads out for weeks, and then months ago before that, just trying to get somebody to come in for an interview and join our team, and it's been very hard to do that. And I think that if somebody came in and had a conversation with us, they'd see like, oh wow, this is something cool to join. These are some cool guys. They're doing some cool things. And I think you would grow within our system, and you would really have a good time, because we do things a little different here. You can tell by looking at the walls and looking at how Daniel is, and we're a little different. We're different cats here, and we believe in growing a team as in growing a family and moving forward like that. And we would love to get some people down here, line cooks, bus people, servers, soon bartenders. We're building a whole team, so if you're looking for something, come on by and talk to us, please.
I'll throw this out to both of you. How many restaurants, from your personal perspectives, successful restaurants in Rhode Island, which have become, in some cases, great generational operations, have been started by people who started as young men and women in the local restaurant business and learned on the fly, and as a result have become very successful as a part of that?
My belief, I don't know where Daniel falls in this one. I have a lot of experience, and he's got more in his pinky than I do. So I believe that the most successful ones, and there's no book that says this, and it doesn't apply to everybody, but the most successful restaurateurs are those who started at the bottom, worked their way up, understand every little aspect of the restaurant. I started as a dishwasher, then I was a prep cook, and then I was a line cook, and then I was a busboy, a bar back, bartender. I've hosted, I've managed, I've general managed. You got to learn every little aspect to come up, and then you can understand how a restaurant works. It's not all just numbers; it's feel, it's vibe. We believe in that. So I believe that the most successful restaurateurs have done that and worked everywhere. You've certainly. He's still our head dishwasher right now. So
I think it's the analogy of a building where a foundation is built, and the more care into that foundation, the more care into what you don't see. The more care you see in the experience, the bigger the foundation, the deeper the foundation goes, is where you have seen the largest of companies built and the longest of longevity in those companies. And it's no different in the restaurant business. There's when you can put together a core team, you can put together people believe in something that have a long history in this business, have an enormous amount of experience, and then you put together a passion for this business. And then there's, some people call it the luck factor, then I call it the God factor. Mm-hmm. When you include those three things, and you put that together, that's where the best of companies that you see in Rhode Island have been built. We have longevity. You're talking about a town that's been doing this as long as anywhere in the country and in the lineup of the longest. We have 10 steps down the street from my restaurant, you have the original and oldest mall in the history of the country. We're talking about the true foundation of this business. Just Up in Boston is one of the first restaurants. It's arguable about which is the first restaurant in the country. The Oyster House claims to be, and they seems to be right, as the oldest restaurant, and that's a stone's throw away from here as far as I'm concerned. And we're all kind of a community of restaurants that has a history. And like I said, my family in the early 20s came here and they put together a food that was out of hardship, and they sold it. Polenta, tripe. We have a great tripe recipe. We have a lasagna that's still being served. You know, these are things that are where it's all started. I don't take the credit for being here today. It's my grandmother who came over from Italy with 3 kids in her hands, one in the belly, and a small little pocket full of money, who got here and developed a family that's second to none.
Right, and that's the melting pot that is Rhode Island, and it is incredible. I spent a lot of time in New York City. I'm from that area originally. That was always called the melting pot of the city. Providence is one of the great destination spots for people fleeing something. You know, the same challenges that existed in the 20s when all of our grandparents, our mom's, dad's grandparents came over, still exist now in different parts of the world, and it brings people to these shores. And when I travel, it's fun to travel places, but when you travel someplace to do business, people, there's a relationship that's built that doesn't exist. It's impossible to create in any other way. So when you're in a place like Providence, the ability to create these first-generation restaurants, because there's such a demand, is really the first step to the middle class. It's really the first step to the American dream for so many people. It's maddening to see this kind of impact on the community level. So you're looking for folks, you're willing to train them, you're willing to literally start people from ground zero. Is that a fair statement of you?
That's a fair statement. I also want to add in, and I don't want to forget with this opportunity, that through this past year, with the foundation that we talked about for a minute, we've secured our next location.
Excellent.
Right? So we've secured our Cranston location. It is well on into its process of developing it, and I don't get afraid of much, so I want to use the word cautiously about petrifying, being petrified. But to think that we're having these conversations about my friends and fellow restaurateurs in this industry not being able to keep their doors open because they can't staff their restaurant, and we're building another restaurant and developing our Cranston location, and to think about what it's going to take to staff that, I sure hope with what we're doing, you're doing, the Levesque's, the team that he's developed of other restaurants really do make the difference of getting people back to work, following through with this initiative that the governor and David has put together, and changing the culture that has been changed over the last year, and changing it back with a good work ethic. I personally have not missed a week's work. I shut down, they closed my restaurant, I came to work every single week. Chris has been working every single week during this process. Our work ethic hasn't changed, and I hope that we can get the people that have been falling into this hole and help put a hand out and pull them up from the hole, get them back to work.
Yeah, and it's a great time to join us on the ground level, as you just said, opening another location. Get in with us now, because we're building out. So it's a good opportunity, and like you said, with little experience, to come in and start learning how to expand yourself in this industry. It's a great industry, and it's going to come back. So.
It's so important to the economy of Rhode Island. Now, of course, right? That seems pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But what I'll point out again and again and again, we as a state routinely refer to small business as the backbone of Rhode Island. And then we do a lot of things to that hurt that backbone. We'll just leave it at that. But here's why a local restaurant is so much different than, say, a multinational. People are here dining right now. There are people working here right now. The money spent by these wonderful people who are clearly enjoying a great meal will then be given to a host of individuals locally. The employees, the suppliers, the owners even occasionally, right?
Very occasionally.
But, economists talk about something called the multiplier effect. And that's why the Coalition Radio has always been about removing obstacles for local businesses to succeed and not creating competition for local businesses by importing out-of-town talent and subsidizing them against the very people who built this community. The money spent here will go to literally dozens of places in and around the greater Providence, the greater Rhode Island area. That money will then be used to support other local businesses. The person who works here will take their paycheck and spend it maybe at Dave's Marketplace, maybe at Stop Shop, any one of a number of local places. And you know what? They'll go out to eat at a place, well, maybe not where they work, but they'll go out to eat somewhere else. And that economic circle of life where we take this money and we multiply it as it, like a pinball machine, bounces around town from business to business to business. That's what's critical, because we have to keep that money in the community. Additionally, the businesses like NicoBellas that are in the downtown area, in the resort areas, are a draw from out-of-state money. I've remarked on a number of times how many, through a variety of efforts that I was involved in, I met people who are here in Providence simply because of the food, the landmarks, the food, the events, the food, who literally have a list when they get to Providence of how many different places they need to hit in the 2 or 3 days they might be here for a weekend. That out-of-state money represents investment capital for a company like NicoBellas to grow, to build a location in Cranston, God bless them, even in these challenging times. That's the seed that creates this economic circle of life. And I feel sometimes like, and this is the opinion of station management, because I am station management, right? This is the opinion of station management, that we need to engage in these kind of economic questions so that we understand how wealth is created. And I'm not talking about the monopoly man wealth. I'm talking about how wealth is created for literally every individual and at every level of society. And it's done based on ground floor efforts like this. People make food that people love, they sell it, they make a fair profit, they employ people, and they spend money on their suppliers. It sounds simple, right? It really, guys, doesn't that sound pretty elemental?
In theory, yeah.
In theory. And again, we're here today to promote a restaurant and to promote a solution. So I'm going to turn the mic over one more time. If you had an opportunity, if you had all the state government, and if you were on the biggest TV station in the state and everybody had to listen to you, what would be the message that you would give to people about your restaurant here, but also about this rebirth that you're talking about?
All right, go ahead, man.
Thank you, first of all, for doing this and bringing us up front here and having the opportunity to share our restaurant on your forum. And it's great work that you're doing. Ultimately, we do a great job. The team that I've been blessed with to have around me does a great job. That team will grow, will happen. We will get back on our feet. People will need jobs again. But I urge the government, the powers to be, the people that responded to the call of the pandemic. I am not here with any opinion whether it was done wrong or right. I am a man with a team that comes to work every day to keep a small business open in what I call the epic center of the effect to small business, downtown Providence. Took the biggest hit in the state. And walked us in, talking to the powers to be, the governor down to the Board of Licensing and Division of Taxation, that you walked us in to a response to a very serious problem. If one life was saved because of what you did and decisions you made, hallelujah, that's great. I'm very happy to hear that. Don't stop there. Help walk us out of this. We need your help. We need initiatives like David Levesque and the governor's Get People Back to Work bill that is in right now, that we need this stuff acted on. We need the work that was done in the last year to save a life. We need a year to save a business, to save a family, to save a mortgage. Work with the Division of Taxation. A couple of years ago, we had an initiative that penalties and late fees in our sales tax program was forgiven because they wanted to raise money to serve the government because the government needed money. Great, thank you. We appreciate what you did a couple of years ago. Let's drop those fees and let's drop those penalties because of people being late over the last year and liquor licenses that are at risk. Let's recognize all these small effects and see where they can step up and give each small business a hand up. We need the help. I'm not speaking for me in regards to any of these things. I'm speaking for an entire industry that absolutely needs help. Not only we're putting people back to work, but we're talking about small businesses that didn't take pays for a year, that struggled with putting a meal on their own plate to be able to stay open. One thing I shared with Chris right from the beginning is that if we could just hold on to the keys for a year, if that can be our goal, if that can be what we achieved, then we're a successful restaurant. That was never my teachings over the last 40 years. My teachings weren't that a successful restaurant is based on just holding on to your keys. And we got our keys. We're very grateful. We're very appreciative. But there's a lot of help that we need from the people that made decisions that put us in this situation for the sake to save a life. I'm not complaining about where we're at. Just don't give up on us now. Please don't give up on us now. Please help us through the next year. Please put a hand out.
Excellent. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Again, it's lunchtime now. Come on downtown today. Come on downtown this weekend. You can operate within your comfort level. You can distance. You can wear your mask. And you can still live a life. We live a life in Rhode Island in a manner that's, as I always say, is so different, so fundamentally more complex, more nuanced. Let's not give that up. These restaurants are the centerpiece of a style of living that we enjoy here that cannot be easily recreated. We talked about the ecosystem that is the Rhode Island hospitality industry. We lose players in this, they don't come back. You don't get to just reinvent a business overnight. This very often is the work of not just what you see in an open door in a restaurant that may have opened up this year. This is a complex series of events that in many cases have taken place over a generation to create an environment that is like no other. So let's embrace Rhode Island this weekend. Mother's Day is coming soon. Please make plans. Listen, we've all had enough of indoor dinners, right? Regardless of what your standard of living can afford, there's a selection for every budget. There's a selection for every taste in the state. We need as a state to make this Mother's Day a mission. This should be our Independence Day. This should be our own little resurrection as a state. And I think we need to work for that over the next few weeks and just get back and not make the notion of supporting local business a cliche. Make it part of your daily life. We are the Coalition, loud and proud, as always, outrage porn-free, civilly disobedient media broadcasting live on the worldwide Coalition Radio Network at coalitionradionetwork.com. Today we have had the privilege of broadcasting from NicoBellas at 10 Dorrance Street, right in the heart of DownCity. An convenient, easy walk from the Dunk, from the Convention Center, from PPAC, from Trinity, from the area colleges and universities. If you're doing business downtown, take a few moments. Let's make a pledge to maybe let's step away from drive-through for a while. Sit down and actually enjoy a meal. You'll feel better. Rhode Island will continue to be reborn. And let's get back to where we were about a year and 2 months ago. We'll be broadcasting live tonight, of course, at Coalition Radio. A number of shows tonight. We'll be getting this up. If you're listening to this, it's probably going to be in replay, but we'll have this up on the website as well as the Facebook page, as well as the Twitch page, as well as all the other places. If you have a moment and you enjoy this type of programming, please take a second to follow us, subscribe to us, register with us, whatever that piece of social media is. Like us on Facebook. It's how we kind of rise above as independent media, local media, above the sort of white noise that's out there. So we'd be grateful if you took a moment to do that. So have a great afternoon, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Wonderful.
How'd it go?